How's it going, everybody? Just thought I'd jump on here and do a live stream. So I'll just kind of hang out here and wait for some people to join in. So yeah, I just figured I'd do a live stream here. So welcome, everybody. And we got a video that I'm actually currently editing right now that I'm going to be putting up in the next couple minutes. So a couple hours, probably in about an hour or so. So while you guys join in, I'm gonna be working on that and wait for some of your guys' questions and whatnot. Sorry, my dogs are barking in the background. How's it going, guys? Just waiting for people to join in on the live stream. How are you guys doing? Figured I'd jump on a live stream and answer some of y'all's questions that you might have regarding the trucking industry and become an owner-operator, just anything you feel like asking me, really. So I'm just finished up editing a video that I'm going to be posting later tonight. How's it going, man? Hola. I don't speak very much Spanish, but I know a little bit. So how's it going? But yeah, Freightliner, Coronado, Columbia, and I would throw the Century into that statement as well, is the best. The best thing is the motor, to be honest, or the engine. So yeah, that's honestly the best part about it for sure. So I'm just finishing up editing a video really fast that I'm going to be throwing up later this afternoon that goes over some 5 things I actually hate about my Coronado glider. Maybe dreaming. What's going on, sir? You don't like the Classic XL? I just wanted a newer truck. I needed a 2013 or newer. I actually one of the first trucks I was assigned to drive in the trucking industry was a Classic XL with a smaller sleeper. I mean, that's kind of where my love for Freightliner, I think, started, is when I started driving one of those for a company. That was one of my first trucks that I was assigned to, was a Classic XL, and I liked it. With a cat, I don't know, man. I just don't want to pay the price for a cat. I mean, they're great, but I mean, you gotta be ready to spend 30 grand to rebuild them. And you know, I don't know any cats that go above 1 million miles. Usually about 700,000 they need rebuilt. Sure, they have more power than a Detroit on the low end, maybe a little more torque, but I mean, I think they're all right, but I still like Detroits. I mean, I love making a constructed argument about this too. But basically, I really like the Detroit. But yeah, back to maybe dreaming. I like the Classic. They just don't make them after like 2000. I was actually going to buy a 2010, the very last years of the Classic. I think like 2009 or 2010. I think I found a couple that were in pretty good condition, but I decided against it. I didn't do it at the time. I bought the Coronado instead, and a couple other trucks in between those. But yeah, so that's what I decided. I mean, the Coronado is kind of the answer to the Classic, if you really think about it. You know, instead of a Classic, I think the Coronado kind of slid in its place. Whether it's the glider, You know, I've heard good things about the Cummins N14 as well. I don't really have any complaints. I would say a lot of people probably think the Detroit and the Cummins N14, the Detroit 60 series and the Cummins N14 are about on the same level. Um, and then guys either like a cat better or a cat less. The N14 is a good motor. I haven't heard anything bad about them. All right. El Mahi, hi. What is the best choice to be owner operator, have authority about money and headaches? Well, honestly, if you can find a good company to lease onto and run under their DOT authority, that would be highly advised if you're newer to the trucking industry and newer to being an owner operator, so that you kind of have someone there that can help you out and show you the ropes. And then in the future, once you kind of get a feel for how things work and kind of get a little more used to everything and being out on your own, going and getting your authority in DOT can make you more money, but it is more expensive, and it does. There's a little more headaches. There's a lot more paperwork. You got to keep track of a few more things. Freightliner, I like the glider kit so crazy. Awesome. Yeah, I don't know if you're talking about mine or just in general, but yeah, it's pretty cool. Nova, def light is blinking days after deleting. What's the issue? Well, is it causing you any problems? I guess that would be the first thing. Is it just blinking? Because if you didn't get a proper tune, you got to have a tuner tune out the def from the computer so it doesn't. So right now, if your def light is blinking, the computer thinks that it needs def or that it should have def. So it's basically freaking out, thinking it has something it doesn't. So if it doesn't cause you any problems, just don't worry about it, or get it fixed when you can. A truck that I used to have, the Century, I actually sold it a couple weeks ago. The check engine lights and the DPF light were on and blinking, but that's just because once it was taken care of, we'll say, the tune we put on it, it didn't delete the lights or the sensors, so it thought it had it, but it didn't affect how the truck ran. Dirty Diesel, how you doing, man? I'm doing good. How are you doing? Just figure I'd jump on a live stream and answer some of your guys' questions. I'm going to be dropping a video in the next couple hours as well, so stay tuned for that. Kind of just trying to finish editing it right now. Usually I have to wait a few minutes for you guys to jump in here, so it's great you guys jumped in a little earlier because I was hoping to get some editing done before you guys jumped in, but it's all good. But yeah, I'm really happy. The channel's growing. The last few videos have done pretty well, and the feedback has been great. All of you guys have wished me good luck and said congrats on the glider, and I really appreciate it. So thank you all for that. I couldn't be more pleased with what's come of making that video and everything. So I really do appreciate it. A lot more positive feedback than I expected, to be honest, with it being YouTube and everybody's got a opinion, and some guys just want to talk crap, whatnot. But I'm pretty happy with the feedback I've gotten so far. Okay, Freightliner, do you like the DD15, DD13, and DD16, or Detroit 60 is the best for you? I've had all of them except for the DD13. The DD15 is fine, but when you get to a certain point, it seems like when it rains, it pours, and when you start developing issues, a lot of issues start to develop, and it's got emissions on it. And well, the Detroit 60 series is a lot better because most of them don't have issues. I'm sorry, they don't have emissions. And if they do have emissions, that's easily correctable. So I like the Detroit 60 the best, the 14 liter. I don't have a whole lot of experience with the 12.7 liter. I like the 14 liter because, in my experience, I've pushed them well past 600 horsepower and been just fine. They've been reliable. And I personally know guys that have gone over 100 million or a million miles with no major issues, except for, maybe some very minor things. But a lot of guys will go 1.3 million miles. So for me, it's Detroit 60 series is the best for me. There's not a problem with the DD15, but it has its trouble areas. Every motor is going to have its issues in certain areas. Dirty Diesel just got off work, became an owner operator Sunday, hauling fuel local. Loved your glider beer. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it. So awesome. Wow. She just became an owner operator Sunday, man. Wow, you're fresh. You're fresh. You just got your feet wet. Damn. Yeah, that's awesome. Man. Well, congrats. Hopefully it goes well for you. And hopefully if you're hauling fuel, you're probably local, or you're probably at least on somebody. So that's a good way to go and start out. Well, good luck to you, and hopefully it works out. I'm doing something semi-similar to that actually right now. I'm actually not hauling oil. Yeah, man, you bet. What kind of truck do you got? I'd be curious to know that. All right, we're getting some more people in here. Guys, feel free to ask me any questions, or just post some comments. Maybe you want to make a statement. That's fine. All right, happiness. While I'm driving 13th year, my RPM rev up and some back, same spot mostly when I drive uphill. 14, 20, then 14. Let's see here. While I'm driving 13th gear, my RPM rev up and comes back. Same spot. Man, I don't know. I don't know if I'm not understanding what you're saying, what problem you're describing, but I mean, I'm having a hard time pinpointing kind of what you're kind of getting at there. Man, I couldn't tell you. That's above my head. I mean, there's not enough information there for me to really understand what's going on. Dirty Diesel, you got a 2017 Pete with a 12.7. Wow, man, you went all out. You definitely you went in big for the first, but hopefully, you went in the right way. So you spent a lot of money, but hopefully that pays off in dividends in the future. I think it will for you. And I'm assuming the 579, you want something a little more aerodynamic than like a, what's the Peterbilt? I can't, or is it, let's see here. Wow, I'm getting all confused. Yeah, is the 579 the more aerodynamic one, or is that the long nose? Let's see here. Oh, the 379. So let's see here. Yeah, let's see. I'm looking up what the buy sell looks like. I'm assuming I'm right. I'm a little bit tired, but let's see here. Okay, yeah, okay, yep. So you went with a little bit more fuel efficient body style. That's great. That's why I liked my Century, man, because it was aerodynamic and more fuel efficient. And then when I got a Coronado, I'm like, oh crap, this thing's like doesn't get as good fuel mileage. It's a brick in the wind. Dirty Diesel, I bought the truck I've been driving as a company driver for the past 3 years, leased onto the company. Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah, that's a good way to go. I don't really talk about that much, but if you have that opportunity you're already familiar with the truck. Why not buy it if it's been good to you so far? That's a good way to go. Usually what I tell guys is, if you're used to driving a certain kind of truck, and like when I was a company driver, I drove certain trucks, and that kind of made my decision on what I was going to buy. Once I became an owner operator, so it's good to stick with what you know. I know a couple guys have done that, and it's gone pretty well for them. I honestly got thrown into a type of truck when I leased onto a company, and it ended up working out. Yeah, that's awesome. That's a pretty good way to go for sure. Let me know if you guys can hear me all right. All that good stuff. They're doing construction outside. I don't know if it's coming in, and make sure you guys can hear me all right. Freightliner, 12.7 and 14-liter engine. Yeah. So the 12.7 has no EGR, and then the 14-liter had EGR, but I took it off, and it worked like a monster. Yeah, there's like $100 chip you can buy for the 14 liters, and you plug it in, and that basically keeps that EGR valve closed. Like I said, this is all hypothetical. That's what I heard, at least. And basically it's just a sensor that tricks the EGR into thinking it's in high elevation all the time. And but they're a little bit hard to get a hold of. I looked it up for a buddy a while back, a few months ago, and it's called the Ugly Fix. But yeah, with the gliders, the 14 liters that are in the gliders, they don't have EGRs. And so they're pre-EGR. They're a lot rarer and harder to find, which is why I was so excited to get a 14-liter in my glider, because they're a lot harder to find, and not having that is a big plus for sure. Okay. Yeah, well, depending on where you're at and where you're running, if you're facing any type of visual inspections, which I never have, but I just don't want to worry about it just in case I did have an issue. This basically just keeps the flap closed, and you're good. But yeah, if you don't have to worry about, that, then if you can get away with it, then that's great. Yeah, Dirty Diesel. Yeah, man, thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah. I'm glad I didn't get that one that was repainted either. I like that truck. I thought it looked really good, but I actually, because these are flying off the shelf, I had to hurry up and put a deposit down, and something just wasn't sitting right with me. I just had a bad feeling about it. I put a deposit down, and I'm going over the pictures and kind of digging, and I called the guy, and he's just, I explained this in the video, but maybe for guys that didn't see it, he's just really like standoffish, like, oh, we don't do this, we don't do that. And like, oh, there's no Carfax. And I was like, all right, well, this doesn't sound good. So then I did some more research, and I seen, I was like, wow, it looks like someone just like sprayed over the entire thing. They just ran it through like a paint booth, just sprayed over everything, didn't mask off anything. I asked him, I was like, oh yeah, you should do that like every year. I was like, that's not good, man. I don't know what's underneath. Like, so I basically was kind of it just didn't sit right with me. And then I did a Carfax, and it's called a bin verified on it. And I was like, oh, that's why it's not sitting around. That's why it's fishy, because it was all funky. But yeah, I'm happy I didn't go with it either. And look, I got my deposit back. Some of you guys have figured out in the comments where that truck was, which I didn't want to mention that. My point of the video is just, trying to share my experience, so you guys out there, it can help you not get screwed on a truck, to make sure you do all your research you can. Yeah, exactly. Go with your gut. And that's why I tried to explain to guys as well, just go with your gut. Freightliner. Let's see here. You're welcome. Um, I have two trucks now. I did have three, but I only have two. But I just drive my trucks as an owner operator. I don't have any drivers currently. Um, oh, okay. Now when your happiness, so you're saying your RPM jumps higher and then goes back lower. Is your RPM actually rising, or is it just the gauge misreading? So that's what you need to figure out. Try to pay real close attention and listen and see if it's actually your motor is revving up or if it's just your tachometer. It could just be a sensor. It could just be your gauge itself could just be malfunctioning. You know, like old vehicles, you know, the tack and the speedometer kind of bounce around. You couldn't be having that issue. It could be just a simple electrical connection to where the sensor is connected to, or you have some bigger issues. If it's actually the RPM of if the engine's actually revving itself up and then coming back down, but you're holding steady on the throttle, that's not good. Um, yeah, I don't even know. The only thing that I've experienced that's happened with is when a transmission is like goes boom, and you know it fries itself as the RPM goes up and down. But if it's still running fine, I think that probably isn't your issue. All right, which one is my favorite? Man, that's hard because I love my heavy spec Coronado because what I used to do, I hauled heavy, and that truck is just it's stout and it's solid, and you put 110,000 pounds on it, and it just doesn't even feel it. But then I don't like the DD15, but then I like the glider because it's got the 14-liter Detroit 60 series in it, and it's like an old school hot rod feel. It's loud, it's somewhat obnoxious, and it just has that raw like diesel feel to it, and I like that. But the glider's not heavy spec, so when I put weight on it, when I put like 90,000 pounds on it, it pulls it just fine. It's got the power, but you definitely feel it. Where the Coronado, the SD122 or SD132, whichever one that truck is, I'm not really sure. Um, it's so solid because it's heavy spec, and it's got the heavy rears, 46,000 pound rears and suspension. So it really handles the weight well. But now I'm not hauling as heavy as I used to. So um, that's kind of where I'm at now. Yeah, dirty diesel. You straight piped your truck when you was still at the company driver. Yeah, man, it definitely is loud. When you straight pipe them and you get the right exhaust, they do sound really good, especially the 14 liter. I don't know about the 12.7 personally, but the 12.7 definitely has a lot of turbo noise if I remember. The 14 liter does too, but it's tamped down a little bit. That was funny. Your company actually let you do that. That's pretty cool that they let you straight pipe it and whatnot. I have a 2006 Freightliner Coronado 14 liter. I like it, but I don't like the ELD. Yeah, that's one thing with the glider is that the glider I bought, it's still EOD, or I'm sorry, ELD, but it's pre-emission. And I haul hazmat, so I have to lease on to bigger carriers, so they all want you to have ELDs anyways. They won't A lot of times they won't hire you if you don't run a ELD or whatnot. Okay, you had an old bull hauler for a boss. Yeah, I guess that works out. But But yeah, that's a rare truck, man. I don't see a lot of those aerodynamic trucks that are gliders. A lot of them are long nose Pete's or W900 Kenworths. You kind of found a little bit of a rare gem there. Getting that 579. Yeah, 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 exactly. I mean, if you're hauling hazmat, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if there's a law enacted in place, but a lot of hazmat requires an ELD, or if it's not mandated, at least 99.9% of the companies are going to want you to run an ELD. So that wasn't a factor for me, at least. Now, if I start, hauling, brokering my own loads or whatnot, but I don't want to work more than 14 hours a day, to be honest. Anyways, I don't want to drive more than 14 hours. I can understand not being able to being able to drive over the 11 hours, but I don't want to work more than 14 hours a day. Our company wants an old truck since it's easier to do IFTA and all that. Oh, an ELD truck. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's easier, and then they don't have to worry about paper logs. And a lot of times their insurance companies won't let them bring on trucks that are pre-ELD. Just it's an emissions liability thing. That's a lot of the problem. Is just that alone. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it does make things easier. I fully agree with that. I did paper logs when I first got into the trucking industry about 10 years ago. And man, it was just a pain. It was a pain in the butt. I mean, you get used to it, but then, at the end of the night, you're trying to scramble to figure everything out. And, you're just got all your other paperwork and stuff for all your other loads. And it's just easier to have the ELD because you're like, it's only I don't have to worry about. I just got to sign it or, do a pre-trip, post-trip. If you have glider with a 14 liter, you still need the ELD. Yep, that is correct. Which, like I said, I'm fine with. So I guess that's why maybe there's more 12.7s than 14 liters then. But I was happy I was able to find a 14 liter, man, because I just love that motor. I had to be a 14 liter for me. And that one truck that I talked about earlier, the one that was repainted and wrecked, that one had a 12.7. So I was kind of, if I was going to buy that truck, I was kind of, sacrificing that, but that's all right. Yep. All right. You bet, man. No problem. Me too. I forgot what you're saying. Me too. Sorry, guys. It's just been a little bit tired. Been a long day. Just getting this video edited. And I'll be putting out a new video this afternoon. 5 things I hate about that glider I bought. Because there's some issues that I don't like about it that just drive me up the walls. Some of it's kind of nitpicky, but you guys will see when you see the video. It's unreal. Oh, yeah, the 14 liter engine. Yep, exactly. That is for sure. Feel free to ask me any other questions you guys might have, or just leave me some comments or anything. It's all good with me. Just trying to finish up this video really fast that I'm editing, like I said. If I can find it. Let's see here. Dirty Diesel, looking forward to it, man. I have some videos of on my glider on my channel. I plan on making a video talking about the transition to OO. It is a lease purchase, but I don't feel like I got screwed. That's good. Yeah, man, that's really good. As long as that's how I got started as an owner operator. I did a lease purchase, but it wasn't a lease. I actually purchased it from the company that I would be running for. So on the outside looking in, it looked like a lease purchase, but it was actually a purchase. It wasn't a lease. So yeah, that's I don't know if that company's doing it the same way. Banky B, hey, question here. Can you put an ELD in a pre-2000 truck? Yes, I believe you can. I think you can. It depends on. I think some of it's going to depend on how advanced an ELD they are going to want. When you plug an ELD into a truck, it basically sometimes ELD uses actual sensors and computer from the truck, and then other times the ELDs will have a standalone box, like a communication link that it'll use. So I think with the right system, you can make it ELD compliant. But I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think you can, as I think many people have told me before that it can be done. All right. So I would definitely check on that, but I think that you can. Dirty Diesel, they financed it to me like a dealer would, except with how they did the interest. My balloon payment is basically the interest plus the cost of my road pump. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty standard. And then they a nice thing about leasing on to companies too is usually if you have some unexpected like downtime or breakdowns, usually they'll help you out with it. Because you're kind of already invested with them because you're running all their numbers. And then because you're kind of stuck running with them because you probably got their decals on your truck, they're more willing to help you out, stuff like that. Whether if you got your own authority in DOT and you're just contracted to somebody, they're not going to help you out if you have a breakdown. But yeah, that's good. Did you have to put a down payment on the truck? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they'll cover any major work and take it in payments out of my settlement. Yeah, that's awesome. That's basically the first company I was owner operator with. They work the same way. They are more than willing to help you out if you needed it. Like I always, they probably have an escrow account, which is just a maintenance escrow, which they take so much money, put it into a maintenance account. So guys, it's for guys that are bad with money. So if they have a breakdown and they're bad with their finances, they have money set aside for them. So it's kind of like babysitter bank account. But so they would take like $200 a week from my settlements and put it into a maintenance account. And at one point, I just used that to not hide my money, but I kind of used that as like a savings account. So I'd have them take out like $400 a week and just put it away in a maintenance account. And then I would just cash it out every like 6 months or a year. And also, if I needed tires, something like that, I would just go to their tire place and then get tires under their account, and then they would just take it out incrementally. So yeah, that's a good deal, man. You're doing really similar to what I did. Let's see here. I didn't have to do a down payment, but I chose to put 2K down. They sold it to me at 69,000. Yeah, I'll have a 2K escrow. Yep, that's about standard $2,000 escrow. And then they stop after you reach that. But for me, I just had them keep doing it, just keep pulling it because I just use it as a savings account. Maybe Jim, how would you describe the length of research you did before pulling the trigger on owner operating? Um, I was in the industry for about 2 or 3 years, and I knew the industry I was in very well. And I talked to drivers that were owner operators and leased on to companies. And I just talked to one driver. I talked to like 5, 10 different drivers. I ran next to owner operators that were doing the exact same job I was doing, but they were owner operators. So I was able to talk to them and see how it really worked and whatnot. So uh, I guess I did some pretty extensive research. I also called those companies and said, "Hey, I'm interested in becoming owner operator and running for you. What would you need from me?" And they told me like, "This is what we would do. This is how how we would operate, and all this and all that." And honestly, I even one of the companies that was nearby me, the owner had an actual race car and went and raced at a couple tracks. And I actually went and talked to him as well. I actually went to an event that he was at and talked to him personally, face to face, and he was a really good guy and whatnot. I didn't end up going to work for him, but that's just part of the research I did. I did a lot of research, but most of it was, boots on the ground, getting, firsthand experience from drivers that were actually driving for these companies and asking them how they want it. And some guys tell me, "Oh, it sucks. Screw this. They're just, they're just bad apples. They're just, hate, pissed off at the world." But most guys are, it's pretty good. And, I talked to some guys that were like, "Hey, even on bad weeks, I make about this much a week. And, this company's great." And one of them actually gave me the card to recruiter. And then that's kind of how I move forward. But it was in the same industry. So let's take, if you're hauling fuel, for example, I was a company driver hauling fuel, and then I ran alongside other owner operators. So I talked to them a lot and whatnot, and got to know them. But it was just out in the oil field. Uh, the instinct's high. How are you? I tried to get a finance from a dealer. He said, "Don't do it as a first time buyer. You will fail." Don't do what as a first time buyer, I guess, is what I would ask. I don't have an LLC yet, but my credit score is good. The LLC is easy. That's not the issue. LLC is just basically going online and registering for your LLC and EIN number. That's simple. Um, Basically, okay, the instincts. I guess I would ask you to elaborate on that a little more. Do they tell you not to finance because you're a first time buyer? Or what did they say to you? Because I got a really good deal as a first time buyer, buying my second truck, Freightliner. If someone said to you, you have three choices, you pick any glider, 12.7, 15 with 515, or 2005 Freightliner Columbia, 14 with 515, or 2021 Freightliner Cascadia with 505 horsepower DD16. I would go with the glider with the 14 liter with 515 horsepower. No questions about it. Every day of the week. Definitely. I wouldn't go with the Cascadia um, with the DD15 or DD16 even, just because they're so hard. There's not the engine's tucked in there. It's not easy to get to. I had a couple Cascadias, but they had the Detroit 60 series in them. It was it was a really rare truck, a couple of them. I wouldn't try buying a new truck as a first truck. Maybe that's what the dealer meant. Yeah, I don't know. The instincts definitely elaborate on that because I guess we want to know kind of what they meant. Yeah, maybe not buying a new truck, but if you're buying a used truck, you know, my second truck I bought on my own with financing, I got from Daimler Financial, and it was a great deal at the time. And I only had to put $5,000 down and I bought a $75,000 truck. Um, and I was a first time truck buyer because my first truck was a lease to own or similar to that, but the company I bought it from the company. They acted as a bank, so it was all off the books, or at least didn't hit my credit. I don't like the. I had a 2007 Columbia, and it was a short sleeper, a smaller sleeper. I don't know. I mean, I like the motor, but that's about all. It ran good, but the Columbias are just so cheap, man, and they're just basically, I don't know. They're a lot. They're built a little bit. I have had a couple. I like the Centuries, and it's basically the same thing, right? But I feel like the Centuries are built a little more sturdier and stronger than the Columbia. The Columbia was just a really cheaply made truck, and I've had a couple of them, and they did all right. But man, they took a beating. But yeah, it's fine. I mean, if you find one that's in good shape, zero gravity. How did you get into hazmat hauling? Basically, I started hauling water in the oil field, and went and got my hazmat because there was guys who hauled oil and hazmat chemicals and all that stuff, and I started talking to them, and so I went and got my hazmat, and then got some. I had tanker experience, so they wanted you to have at least a year or two of tanker, and then ended up going over there and hauling hazmat, and kind of never looked back. Been doing that for the last 8 years. Dirty diesel. Coronado is like the GMC Denali, and the Columbia is like the work truck Chevy. Yeah, it might be like the work truck Dodge. I don't know. It may be even worse. uh, Edmund Carter, why is there a shortage of drivers? Well, I made a video about this, I think a while back, and basically just has to do with there's not a whole lot of younger drivers getting into the industry. I guess I'm not so much of a younger driver anymore, but a lot of older guys that are drivers are starting to retire, or they're starting to have health problems. So they're being pulled out of the driving force. And now I just don't think younger guys or gals are interested in becoming drivers. So you have a lot of, gap there. You either have like younger guys or like guys around my age or a little or older than I am, and then the really older guys that are kind of getting towards retirement. And a thing I've found is, a lot of guys don't want to be over the road, especially for what it pays. Nobody wants to be away from their family for weeks on end to make $1,000 a week. So as soon as they start paying better, they won't have that problem anymore. Yeah, I do 1099 to somebody. Yep. No, I lease on to somebody, so I run under their dispatch, and I only run for them as of right now. What do you mean that the Freightliner Columbia is cheap? What do you mean? It's cheaply made. It's not built. It's not made. It's a cheaper made truck, and generally they are cheaper as well. Right now, the Columbia gliders are insane amounts of money. I don't know who. Yeah, they're too much money. but they are definitely cheaper trucks. Trucker Abdullah, hey man, what's up? How you doing? Good to see you in here. King Lena, is 30K enough to become an OO? Yes. Um, if 30K, if you have 30K set aside and that doesn't include your down payment on a truck, yes. You need about 20K sitting and about, now if you have about $20,000 sitting in an account and becoming an owner operator, then yeah, it's definitely worth it. Or it is enough. Sorry. Yeah. So if you have about 20,000 set aside and you use that other 10,000 to do a down payment, you should be all right. But I would suggest minimum have $20,000 set aside to become an owner operator for sure. Freightliner, I am 23. I'm a young driver. Yes, you are. Well, I was 23 when I became an owner operator. So if that gives you a little more context, and I started driving when I was 21, so I started out pretty young as well. That's awesome. There's not a whole lot of you guys out there. I know when I was doing it, I was the youngest guy, and even in a lot of fields that I even know now, I'm the youngest guy. I'm trying to get a truck used under 400K and under 50K. That might be a little okay. Yeah, that's exactly what I advise. Try to stay under 500,000 miles and spend around 50K. It's getting hard right now because inventory is low, so prices are getting jacked up. So just be patient. Wait for the right truck to come around. Dirty diesel, yeah. Glider prices are insane, man, and so are pre-emission trucks. I know, it's crazy, and it's just gonna get worse. You're gonna get more lipstick, bullshit trucks out there. You're gonna get more trucks that are just garbage that have been wrecked and someone just sprays over them because they made a quick dollar. So unfortunately, with the demand right now, you're gonna get a lot of guys are gonna get tricked into buying trucks that are just not worth what they're selling them for. Two-pish MMG, do you think getting an APU is important for a first-time OO or OO in general? Doesn't it save the most fuel and less wear tear on the engine? Yeah, getting an APU is a good idea. I don't know. I don't use it because I'm local, and I might end up going out and back. Maybe once or twice a week. So it'll be good for me, but I don't use it because I'm local. So I'm home every night, or I try to be. But the dude I talked with just demotivated me, saying that it's not worth it and all you will fail. I have 37 years of experience. Okay, who's this dealer think he is to tell you that you're gonna fail? It's like what is he, your dad or something? Like screw this guy, man. That's telling you you're gonna fail. Failure depends on you, not this guy. So that's ridiculous if some guy's telling you that at a dealer, oh, it's not worth it, you're gonna fail. That's what I remember. I had guys telling me that when I first got started, and I've done pretty well for myself, I think. Especially if you have 37 years of experience. If you didn't have any experience, I can understand someone saying that. But I am in IT and I'm trying to get a driver to drive it for me, hauling frac sand. Okay. Well, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why they would say that to you. Um, I mean, it's definitely hard. I don't, if you get a truck and trying to put a driver in it, your return on investment ain't going to be as high as you think it is going to be, because you're going to have downtime, and you're going to have the truck's going to break, and it's going to cost you money that you didn't expect. So, I would highly suggest maybe, if you're going to drive the truck yourself, and then maybe buying a second truck to put a driver in, Because if you don't want to slip seat the truck with the driver, because the driver breaks the truck, then he broke your income source as well. So yeah, that's a little more difficult. If you're just gonna try to buy a truck and then put a driver in it. I made a video about that, to all the entrepreneurs and the investors out there. There's a lot of investors that out there that, they're playing with fire a little bit when, they might have $50,000 burn a hole in their pocket. And they're like, oh, I'm going to buy a truck and put a driver in it. Well, it has to be done very carefully, and it can really, you can lose money real fast doing that. Let's see here. Freightliner. I was 18 when I was driving in my state. That's awesome. Yeah, I know some guys who get started that young. There's the only thing I could find in my price range was a 2015 ProStar or Cascadia. Yeah, well, good thing you didn't go that route. The instincts. I do have CDL and I used to drive before, but I haven't driven myself for 2 years now. I have 1 to 2 year experience myself before I moved to IT. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you've got experience. I would be careful with trying to buy a truck and putting a driver in it, and that could be tricky. But yeah, who is a guy to tell you that though? That's ridiculous. Who the heck does that guy think he is to tell you, oh, you're not going to see, you're just going to fail? You think he'd be, I don't know. You think he'd be just like kissing your butt to get you a truck sold? I don't know what kind of dealer is just like, oh, you're going to fail. Don't even try. I'm not going to sell you a truck because you're just going to fail. Freightliner, what is your dream truck, or do you have it? My ultimate dream truck, there's 2 of them. So this will be my next trucks that I get, potentially. I want a T800 Kenworth with a 14-liter Detroit in it. That's got 18 speed and a 550 horsepower 14-liter Detroit. I have not seen one ever yet. I've told that they are around. They have been made before, but a lot of them are 12.7s. So that would be the one. And the second one is a Freightliner Coronado SD 122, similar to my 2011, that buy sell. So the second generation Coronado. I want that truck with a 14-liter Detroit in it. Not a typical Coronado glider, but the Coronado SD 122. I've seen probably maybe 5 of them in the last 5 or 6 years for sale. And 2 of them were day cabs. One was done really shoddily. I don't know if it was real. And the other 2, they sold. And there's one for sale right now, but it's $180,000, and it's super heavy spec, which is way overkill for me. It's got like 20K fronts, and it's actually, I think it's got a drop axle, but it's just way too heavy spec for me. G-Star Express. Hey bro, what's up? What's the best laptop you recommend to use DTA load board? Man, that's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. I'll be honest with you. Laptop you would recommend to use DTA load boards. I don't go off load boards, to be honest with you, but I would look into getting a tablet. Like, I'll show you what I got right here. Just getting a Samsung tablet. That might be your best way. And then, get a printer that you can hook up to. Buddies of mine, they just have laptops that they just hook up to computers for like paperwork and whatnot in their truck. So maybe just, a laptop as well. Darius, when did you start? I turned 21 in trucking school, been at it since 2011, hauling fuel since 2013. I got started in 2011. Basically, yep, I basically, when I turned 21, I was working for a beer distribution company when I was 20. And then I couldn't run routes or actually deliver the product on my own until I turned 21. So I got my CDL through that company. when I turned 21. And then I started running for them, and then I went out to the oil field the very same year. So yeah, ever since I've been doing it since 2011, and then I started hauling oil in 2013. So ever since then, well, hauling hazmat tanker, I should say. Trucker Abdullah, gotta love them pre-emission trucks. Yep, gotta love them. Unless you gotta have a 2013 or newer, which is what I had to do to make my customer happy that I haul for. So I had to buy a glider. But yes, yeah, man, that's awesome. It sounds like you're about the same age as me then. Yeah, that's awesome. What area are you out of, Dirty Diesel? Or what side of the country? Freightliner, did you ever want to long haul? No, not really. Maybe, maybe at some point in time, but I like being local or like being regional. I don't want to long haul. I've got a nice house. I like sleeping in my own bed at night. I don't mind if I work 16 hours a day. I just want to sleep in my own bed. Okay. Yeah, Dirty. So yeah, I'd say yeah, I think so. Oh, you're in Jacksonville, Florida. Awesome. In Savannah. That's good. That's awesome. You know, my girl's actually from Florida, um, and we were thinking about. I was thinking about maybe relocating down there, but I just didn't. I saw some of the jobs, and they just do not pay that well. No, Freightliner. No, I've never did long haul. I've always been a local guy, or I went out and back. Nope, never did the long haul thing. I've driven across the country and whatnot, and but I haven't done it for a long period of time. It's not my cup of tea. Maybe someday I will, but yeah, Dirty Diesel. Yeah, that's kind of what I saw. I was looking at some jobs down there, and I think that yeah, the pay is pretty bad as far as what I saw online, what they were advertising for. I was like, wow, that's horrible. Yeah, the no state income tax does help, but yeah, you're right. It's low wages. That's why I haven't gone there. Because every time I think about it, and now house prices are going crazy because everyone wants to move to Florida for other reasons. And I would love to too, but now house prices are going up, so now it's kind of makes it hard to be beneficial. Because if house prices were still low, it would still be beneficial and make less. But now house prices are getting boosted like crazy. So you say I need both laptop and iPad, G Star Express? No, I don't think so. Either or is probably fine. I know guys that do it with both. Um, I just know that sometimes it's faster to load up a tablet. I have a Samsung tablet or an iPad than it is to open up a laptop. But if you need something to print off of, a laptop might be a little better for you. Yeah, it is a beautiful drive, and a lot of places are pretty nice to drive through. You're right, Freightliner, which that's what draws me to wanting to do it maybe at some point in time. But right now, if I can stay local, I want to stay local. The culture. Do you see any new lease to own programs that look like a good deal? Those are always a little bit tricky because you don't really know exactly what you're getting into. I would just look at, uh, do your research, try to find guys that did it or are doing it, and go from there. Yeah, dirty assault. Yeah, I mean it's appealing, man. It really is. I'd love just to sell my stuff here and go down there, but unless I found a job that paid good enough, kind of justify it. Because I know guys that run over the road and they're out of Florida, but that's why they run over the road as owner operators, so they can't make any money in Florida, is what I'm told. And from what I see, I haven't found a good enough job. Yeah, they are. Yeah, I should have bought I should have bought a second house there years ago when the market was real bad. Because yeah, you could buy like a good house for like 150K, and now they're like 350. So it's definitely gone up like crazy. Let's see. Dave said, has anybody ever added a drop axle to a single axle truck? I don't know. I've never seen it. Uh, maybe. I think I've seen a truck that had two axles, but one was raised, so maybe they have. I don't even know how you go about that. Freightliner, where do you go local? I'm in the Midwest, so like Colorado, Wyoming, Nebraska area. When I was OTR, I had to stay out 3 to 5 weeks to make money since I always had a dad at home. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's what the guys that buddies of mine there in Florida that run over the road. That's exactly what they tell me too. Is that there's just nothing local to do in Florida. Cody Gunst, just wanted to swing by and say hi. Testing for my CDL Class A on the 8th. Well, congrats, man. Hopefully you pass, and hopefully you find a good job, and it's the trucking industry serves you well. Freightliner, like New York. Do I like New York? Not really. Not a big fan. And if that's what you're asking, I'm sure the pay's pretty good there, but no, I don't like it that much. Dirty diesel company didn't want to pay top home. Oh, I don't blame them. Yeah. Trucker, yep, I'm OTR from Florida. See, there you go. Yep, a lot of guys that I know are from Florida. King Leonidas, I thought you lived in Canada. No, I don't live in Canada. That's too expensive for me. Uh, Colorado, and it's close. C, right? The instincts. Do I need to make an LLC for becoming an OO? Is there any benefits to that? You should. I mean, I'm not an accountant. Get an accountant and follow their advice, but they'll probably say yes. G Star Express. I think that's to Abdullah. Are you fasting in Columbus, Ohio, and still 2 hours left? Yeah, the instincts. You definitely want to set up something, especially if you're going to be in business for yourself. I think. I mean, DD15, bro. My truck is '06 Coronado. I just bought it. Previous owner did not take care of the truck well. I'm planning to go OTR. Should I check all wheel seals and bearings? There's no leaks from the. Looks like it cut off your comment there, DD15. But yeah, um, I mean, checking wheel seals is kind of a thing. Like if they go out, they go out. Oh, the hub, yeah, you should definitely check the hub oil seal, but or the hub oil reservoir, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, you can check the bearings, but I would just drive the truck, and as long as it sounds fine and it is fine, then you should be good to go. The instincts. I am trying not to drive myself actually, but the driver's good. 12-hour shifts every day, paying 8,500 a week, worth it. Um, yeah, I mean that's pretty high gross. If it's sustainable and if that's all the time, and depends on what you're paying the driver, but yeah, that's a good gross amount for sure. If the driver can, a lot of that will depend on the driver, and if he stays with it, if he can find another guy to replace him if he doesn't work out. Ooh, Trucker Abdullah, you're in PA. I was there a couple weeks ago. Freightliner, how long it was been when you went to Wyoming, and do you like it? Yeah. I mean, I'm on the border of, so we go into Wyoming, Nebraska a lot, and then back to pull loads out of there. And yeah, it's fine. I go in and out of Colorado or in and out of Wyoming all the time. I don't really want to live up there, maybe eventually, but yeah, it's fine. I like it. It's cold as hell in the winter and it's windy as hell, but it's fine otherwise. The instincts are. Has the truck actually been able to? Do you know guys are making that, or are they just telling you that the instincts? Because yeah, frac sand can be good, but it can be hit or miss. I did it for a few years. I had my company trucks hauling frac sand. It was really up and down. It actually destroyed my other company. But not saying that's scary. I'm just saying, like, don't believe everything they tell you. Okay. Yeah, just man, frac sand's hard, man, because it's really up and down. And like when they need trucks, they need them, but when they don't need them, they don't. And they don't care who they screw over when they don't need them. But yeah, when it's good, it's good. Just beware. Be careful with that. I was actually gonna go haul sand down in Texas. For like, I looked into two different companies, and unfortunately, both of them kind of fell through. One of them was just kind of all over the place. And the other one, I got ready to go down there and did all their orientation and whatnot. And then last minute, they told me to hold off. That was in 2019 when everything was going really good. So I just kind of got a bad taste in my mouth with some of those Texas frac sand companies. I mean, they could be good, but the ones I looked into kind of fell apart before I even got going with them. Honestly, I like tanker and hazmat has done me the best in my driving career, but now one part of that is going away. As far as like the oil field stuff is concerned, so it's kind of hard. But I think tanker and hazmat is one of the best. Also, there's some. I mean, just all depends on what you can get into. It probably differs from the area as well. So yeah, it all depends on where you're at in the country as well. But definitely try to stay if you stay specialized, that's what yields the best returns. Like flatbed, construction, tanker. If you're hauling a box fan, it may not be the best return because there's so many. That's kind of the normal, and a lot of guys do it. I heard reefer's decent right now. Flatbed's good. I know guys that do flatbed. That's good, but it takes experience, and you got to kind of build up your experience to do that. You can't just jump in. I mean, you could, but it'll probably take you a while to get things figured out. Ooh, what would be the first truck? Best first truck as an owner operator. That's if you're over the road, definitely want to look for something aerodynamic. If you're local, it doesn't really matter. But I like Freightliners. I like the Detroit 60 series for sure. Um, just mainly sometimes trying to find the newest truck with the lowest amount of miles for the best price is kind of the best way to go, given certain options and engines and whatnot. Like I'd say you want to stay away from like PACCAR and ISX Cummins are fine. If you're looking for like a newer truck or a DD15 is okay. Just make sure that it's in good shape and doesn't have any issues. Yeah, there's a lot of options out there. I mean, you just got to kind of see what fits you best. It's kind of a loaded question, but it's kind of hard to answer. But for me, it was either, I would have done fine with probably an ISX, a Cummins, or a DD15 or a Detroit 60 series or a cat. But I just didn't want to spend the money on a cat, so I like Detroit better, the 60 series. And then as far as newer engines, a Cummins ISX 15 is fine, and a DD15 is fine. Dirty diesel specialized and hazmat is mainly what I would do if I were OTR. Yeah, that seems to be where the best money is. That and flatbed. Or low boy, like heavy haul stuff, OTR, that pays really good. But man, tie about just being on call whenever, wherever is how that stuff works. But I know that pays really good. Being over the, hauling heavy haul or oversized low boy like equipment and whatnot. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining me. I was just going to jump on here real fast this afternoon. I was looking at some videos on YouTube. Most of the people are more concerned about the transmission. Yeah, that's for sure. Get a manual. Unless you buy a couple years old, the Allison automatics are okay, is what I've heard. I can't tell you from personal experience, but guys that I know in the industry say that the Allisons are pretty good. 2016 or newer. I wouldn't really touch an automatic older than a 2016 though. I would always buy a manual. So do a manual. But on that, appreciate you guys stopping by. Dirty Diesel, have a good one, man. You do the same. And to all you other people out there, thank you for joining in and leaving your comments. Hopefully I was able to help some of you. The instincts, thanks, man. Appreciate it. I do appreciate it. I'm tired as heck, about ready to fall asleep. So I'm going to go get some rest, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Hopefully, maybe next week I'll do one again around Wednesday or Thursday. That's kind of my days off. So But thank you guys for joining me, and I'll see you on the next one.